you very much. Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I enjoyed hearing from each of you, and I wish we had a lot more time because I know there's a lot more that could be discussed. As it sounds like you're trying to deal with the continuity of process where the system overall works as it should. You're trying to make sure the misinformation is dealt with, that foreclosure avoidance occurs when it can. I guess one problem I'm having is if fraud has been committed on the part of lenders, and as it applies to foreclosures, they should be held independently responsible for each and every one of them without a doubt. But the concept of just arbitrarily assessing everybody who ever made a loan to pay into a pool to fund something in the future is unreasonable based on those who are trying to do the right thing. And the concept that there hasn't been some cost or punitive action towards everybody, whether it be a homeowner who took out a bad loan, they paid tremendously. The individuals who made loans, lenders have paid tremendously. Investors have made huge investments, and they've paid tremendously through loss of assets. Many who bought mortgage-backed securities that groups like Countrywide tried to format to look like a GSE mortgage-backed security, which it wasn't. Those investors lost tremendous amounts of money. So there's been hardship on everybody throughout this, if you want to call it depression in the housing industry, whatever you want to call it, this debacle that occurred. Everybody has paid a price. But if people are being unreasonably foreclosed upon, those individuals who have made those actions should be held accountable for those actions. And the part of Freddie and Fannie who hired attorneys who did something improperly, hopefully their errors and omissions insurance requirements are so great and the damages assessed against them are going to be enough that others in the future would want to avoid that. But we have to say things have gone wrong in the past. We're trying to deal with them now, but how do we look to the future? And Mr. Stevens, you and Mr. Walsh made some very good comments. How much impact do you think your efforts are having on the system today as it applies to rectifying some of these problems that have occurred?
Thank you for the question. We've seen a significant change in servicer behavior since we began our reviews. As these work through the process of our formal procedures through the Mortgagee Review Board, I believe we'll see even greater response. To date, we've already fined $4.25 million in penalties. We've suspended 50
to those who are responsible for misdeeds.
That's correct.
Not the innocent.
Specific cases, those
Yes.
institutions. And
I support that.
And we've eliminated 1,500 other institutions, and it's without question elevated the awareness of all institutions in this country about the need to adhere to processes, just as clearly is taking place right now through what's happened with the recent spate of news around robo-signing and the various other issues.
And you think your actions that have taken place are effective and they're working?
I think we need a trust but verify approach, or maybe
Yes.
at this point not even necessarily complete trust. I think we are doing what we think is what is appropriate. We're sending teams into the servicers right now. We're expanding our reviews. We're going to look at the remaining stages of the foreclosure process beyond what we looked at the last set of reviews. And if they are not compliant, we will take our authority, which we have some significant ability to assess penalties legally, and we will take that authority.
You're going to verify that your actions and implementations have taken place, and if not, there's going to be a consequence for that.
That's correct.
Mr. Walsh, do you agree on that?
Well, certainly when we took action a couple of years ago with the servicers to identify problems in their modification programs, they greatly improved the quality and effectiveness of the modifications. Okay. The examinations that we're now undertaking on an interagency basis are going to just grind right down to the most granular detail to understand what has gone on in this process, to make sure that those processes are remedied so that they operate in a fair and legal manner, and to the extent that there are systematic problems, there will be both remediation and there may be penalties.
I applaud you on that. Mr. DeMarco, I have a question for you. We had a debacle on HVCC and appraisals in the past year, and we proved that did not work, and we put new guidelines in place, and FHFA basically has allowed both Freddie and Fannie to put out conflicting guidance that applies to appraisal processes in the future, and I'm bothered by that because they're the largest holder of trust deeds. why are they not complying with the same requirements we have placed upon banks?
Congressman, I'm going to find out exactly what this discrepancy is that you're concerned with. The Fannie and Freddie have maintained the positive elements of the HVCC now that that has gone away, principally focused on appraiser independence. The Federal Reserve has just recently
But they
issued
haven't done that. That's my problem. I'm out of time, but will you check into that and get back? Because from what I'm hearing, that has not occurred.
Okay, I certainly will.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Green?